A show based on the facts, honesty, the man, the myth, the legend. ChristiTutionalist Joseph M. Leonard.
Welcome to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP, in association with TheLibertyBeacon.com, and I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Leonard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show! Hoping everyone will have a happy Thanksgiving, as well as moving into the month of December, of course. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and it won't be long. Happy New Year. Hello, everybody. This is not the actual beginning of the CTP show, Season 2. I'm looking at my notes where they go. Episode 77, Fight, Flight, Other Options. But instead, I just came from Wendy's hamburger place. Today being Tuesday, December the 3rd, as I record this. Got home just now, wanted to record this interlude before the show, before I forgot my thoughts. Shout out to the gentleman that I had a conversation with at the Wendy's restaurant. My apologies. Didn't think to ask your name. I should have asked your name, so I knew who it was I was indeed talking to. But at any rate, shout out. Hope you're listening, because yes, I did mention about the show, and that it's right in line with a lot of the things he was talking about. But specifically, we were talking the illegal immigration thing, and I wanted to put this out there. I'm speaking only for myself, but I'm hoping, praying that I'm speaking for a lot of other fellow real Christians. We care about others. We indeed are, from a Christian standpoint, all God's children. Yes, we agree. We want your life and your ability to pursue a degree of happiness in your life. We can agree with that. However, you do not have a right to invade our country to pursue that. We hope for, pray for, want good, better U.S. policy through, look back on past shows, rising tides lift all boats, going back to JFK Democrat days. We hope for better economic policy, not just for U.S. citizens, but that it also helps all elsewhere throughout the rest of the world, at least in our allied nations or nations not our immediate direct enemies. We want you to do well there. And of course, the fact that so many just refuse to acknowledge there are a lot coming, yes, in hopes of a better life and opportunity to pick themselves up by their bootstraps and do better. The reality, too, though, is there are a whole lot of people who are not coming here to seek an opportunity to make better of themselves, but to steal from the land of plenty. And the point of the show, dealing in reality, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pros, the cons, not delusion. So indeed, at any rate, I just wanted to do this quick interlude before heading into Fight, Flight, Other Options, Season 2, looking at my notes again, Episode 77, that will drop on December the 7th, and you'll see why that ties in with December 7th as we get into the show. Thank you all. Take care. God bless. Oh, also, if indeed you are listening to the show, gentlemen who I don't know your name, please click on send us a message in the show notes. Let me know you heard my giving you a shout out and how much I took to heart our conversation. Okay, thank you.
Hello, everyone. I don't want to start the official main segment of this Fight, Flight, Other Option. Behind the scenes, you can see my notes from the thelibertybeacon.com piece. This show is going to air or start airing on December 7th. Of course, the day that shall live in infamy. And so I didn't want to start at least the official show segment off of my usual happy-go-lucky, more upbeat welcome to you all, but indeed befitting of the somber day, December 7th, the show is dropping on. Many of you, of course, will be listening much after that. Could be months after, could be years after. Who knows when, right? That's the wonderful nature of podcasts. Listen on your time. But with today being December 7th, again, as the show originally drops, I wanted to mention sometimes divine providence enters in. This show, Fight, Flight, Other, was actually concocted as a topic 6 or 8 weeks ago. I wasn't looking ahead in the calendar and, okay, this is going to specifically fall on December 7th. Planned purpose for it to be there, but it is. And as the time grew nearer for me to then seriously sit down and say, okay, I've got to get Fight, Flight, Other Option for thelibertybeacon.com rough drafted in, I then did look at the calendar and what day it would fall on. And I'm like, wow, yes, this makes perfect sense. So let us indeed take a moment of silence. I know, podcasts, radio, whatnot, you don't want dead air, but let's indeed take a moment of silence for all those affected on December 7th, 41, and or, of course, what many call the more modern Pearl Harbor 9/11/2001, and those descendants still suffering. Please join me in a moment of silence.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Podcast fans, get more about your favorite podcasts via deepcast.fm, transcripts, and all kinds of extra available information on your favorite podcasts, including ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast, is listed at deepcast.fm, as well as, are you a podcaster? Well, you can claim your free listing and more via Deepcast Pro. Check out tinyurl.com/Deepcast Pro for podcasters for your free listing, and that's the number 4 in there. tinyurl.com/deepcastpro4 podcasters, the number 4, Deepcast Pro, the number 4 podcasters via tinyurl.com extension. Take care, all. You got to check them out. Get more out of your podcast, whether you're the podcaster or the podcastee. Yeah, I think I just invented that word.
Okay. Thank you. Again, on a radio or podcast situation, you don't want quiet air, or in the business to say dead air, right? People think something's wrong with their equipment. Oh my God, where'd the sound go? So that was indeed brief. But it is fortuitous that this is on this day or for this time. I'm not talking about fight or flight in like a given situation as big as a Pearl Harbor or a 9/11. It relates, yes, but it also relates very much to and the importance of everyday life. Terrorism, my book, right? Terror strikes coming soon to a city near you, making the point that the high, glossy, glitzy, massive, major assault strikes, I have no doubt they plan and plot and want to engage in. But the reality is, of course, that the more people you have involved in a conspiracy to commit such a larger act means more communication, means more chance at infiltration and interjection, it being interceded by our intelligence agencies. Hence, terror strikes coming soon to a city near you. Lone wolf, one-off, pop-up attacks that don't take weeks, months, years, or decades of planning to engage in terrorism and or, let's remember, crime as a general thing. Like in terror strikes, Naperville, Teresa thought she was the mama bear she need be for her child, Cammie. Turns out she was an ostrich. Happy-go-lucky, stumbling through life. Hope is great. Hope is wonderful. We need more hope. But hope itself is not a strategy. It is not a good way of trying to go through life. Again, yes, hope. We want hope. We hope and pray for things to be good, things to be better, things to not go south, as the saying goes, right? Be bad, for us to somehow land up at the wrong place at the wrong time and be caught in a criminal situation or a terrorism situation. And that's what this, all up and down from the small end scale to the big end scale, is about. You've heard fight or flight as part of the human condition and general reactionary options to a bad situation. But what I'm saying here, fight, unless if you're prepared in some way and or trained in some way, have some really viable options at putting up a fight, that is obviously not your best option always. Every situation is different, and we're talking a degree of situational awareness here that you resolve, that you will be a thinker, not one who panics, which leads us to flight. Sometimes that may be the best option. But a lot of times, my point here is that if you're part of the sheeple stampede in a panic, if it indeed is a terror situation, guess what? You've made yourself a bigger target. You are bringing notice to yourself and the others, panicking and running around like a chicken with your head cut off for the exit, and creating its own additional risks of stampede, people being knocked over. Your son, your daughter, your spouse, someone you love, and they're being knocked over and trampled to death. A death not as a real direct result of the crime or the terrorism or whatever is happening. I discuss in the libertybeacon.com piece and other places. I had a press release come out on this several months ago, hearkening to these situations. Remember the Ariana Grande concert. Now, what happened there inside is not important as so far as the point here. Something happened, people panicked, and they ran. There was a stampede of sheeple. People got trampled. People got hurt. People got killed of their own non-thinking reactionary state. I am stating here, if flight is an option, not part of that mob of sheeple panicking, running away, a strategic, thoughtful, deployed exit, yes, can and does make sense in a lot of situations. But again, I'm talking you resolving to think, not panic. And I understand you need to recognize the reason you need to think about this now and think about it on occasion, not be obsessed like I spoke when talking about terror strikes coming soon to a city near you. Many shows I'd be on to talk about the book. Not trying to settle fear porn. I don't want you to be paranoid. Smart, strategic exit. Don't be paranoid. But you can't be like Teresa and never consider that you might land up in a bad situation. You don't want to be there. You don't plan to be there, but life happens. There are bad and evil people out there looking to do bad and evil things. And if you land up there, you have to have thought about these things to a point ahead, again, so you resolve in the fractions of a second I have to decide what to do. Fight, flight, or fade, we're about to discuss. I will think, not panic, in those fractions of a second I have. Don't obsess about it. Don't be paranoid. Don't get all OCD like my brain does to me at times and be up at night, paranoid and panicked about, oh my God, if this might happen. Because look, Joe talked about it. No, don't be paranoid. Don't obsess. But at the same time, don't think you can just coast through life and everything will be sugar plums and lollipops, or whatever the regular saying, that you're going to be able to coast through life and everything will just be wonderful and hunky-dory. Resolve that if something happens, you will think. Fade as an option, like the Ariana Grande concert that I was referencing to, and the panic that ensued that caused more harm to more people than the incident at the concert itself caused. And as an aside, I think that was Madison Square Garden in New York that happened, but again, that particular detail doesn't matter. It could be a small town arena somewhere, a rodeo outing. It could be a birthday party at a Chuck E. Cheese's, and something goes haywire, sideways, goes south. Have resolved, you will think, fade? What is the fade option? Well, as in the case of the Ariana Grande concert or a hypothetical terrorism situation, someone shooting things up with an AK-47, there's no way you're going to be able to turn on an invisibility cloak. But remember, those people over there panicking are the ones likely to garner the attention of the evil doer. If you fade behind the seats or even just duck down onto the stairwell and try to make yourself small, you're not going to turn invisible, but become a smaller target. Don't be that obvious shiny thing over there. In this case, the hundreds or thousands of people rushing for the exit. The fade option is a valid other option. And that is all the point of which I wanted to bring you today. But yes, stay tuned. Don't go away. There's going to be a third segment. This is indeed the bulk of the show. While I'm at it, behind the scenes, if you're looking on video, you see I'm wearing my Maverick News shirt. Well, why is that? I'm recording for December 7th, Saturday, on Tuesday, December the 3rd. And tonight I will be on Maverick News live to discuss what's going on in South Korea, as well as the Bucha atrocities in Ukraine. So I'm in my garb and ready for that, but decided, okay, I'm going to record Fight, Flight, Other Option, Fade, Season 2, Episode 77 of ChristiTutionalist Politics. Now, while I've got the time, rather than something coming up over the next few days and be rushed before Saturday and needing to then hurry through the show and not get everything in. And indeed, as always, the LibertyBeacon.com piece is in conjunction and corresponds with the show. There are things there that won't be here, things here that won't be there. You can do one or the other. My hope, of course, so I can keep both short, is that you'll find the time to squeeze in both at some point. Try to make them shorter so that you can squeak them in what I know are your busy days. So, at that, again, let us remember December 7th and what happened that day, as well as 9/11. Some said never forget, but as the Daryl Worley song says, I think I spoke with Lady Redneck on that, or was that was not Luann Hunt, Chenille, maybe? Daryl Worley song, Have You Forgotten? Unfortunately, many have, and think, well, like, because of the Wuhan hysteria, terrorism went away, crime went away. No, these things are still real, still a problem, still a possibility. I want you to be at least remotely prepared for it. I'm, again, not asking you to go out, get Navy SEAL training, that kind of prepared for it, but at least remotely as best as the average, normal citizen that has a whole lot of things going on in life to focus on, that you have at least thought about it to some degree and will think rather than panic. I apologize. I know I've repeated that several times. So indeed, at any rate, there is a third segment that I actually pre-recorded before this. So let's head into that. And may God bless America again.
Wait, don't tune out yet. I'm doing another cheat. It is still Tuesday, December the 3rd, as I'm now recording this third segment, an extra outro to the show that I was thinking I would add into the show, but given my memory, I might forget. So I'm cheating and recording this ahead for placement in the show at the end once I've recorded the show. But at any rate, what am I rambling about here now? Well, kind of show housekeeping-ish. You've heard me no doubt say over and over, you're no muss, no fuss, low-key show. Just you, me, and an occasional guest, although now I'm pretty much dropping every Wednesday a guest show, so not so occasional. But at any rate, what I wanted to say is, you've heard me no doubt say, eventually the higher production items will come. Well, I hope you've noticed it's not a big thing, but indeed on the intros and the outros, you probably hear the underlying backing music to try to make it a little more professional show. I hope you appreciate it, but my real reason for wanting to tag this on is that the video behind the scenes sneak peek videos available at BitChute, Brighteon, Dailymotion, Rumble, YouTube, generally all 5, and show snippet sound bites via Vimeo at times even. The production value has indeed increased quite a bit. If you watch the behind the scenes video, you'll see additions of, like, the professional TV scroll at the bottom and other effects and meme insertions and or article imagery inputs in related sections of the show that relate to other things regarding whatever the current discussion is. So thank you to NCH Software, their video pad editor. I'm now able to do a little bit more higher production stuff, but still ultimately, no, I'm not looking for, not rushing into a whole lot of the high production stuff with the moving background and all that stuff. Not important, not necessary, at least I hope you think so. That's the point of the show. Again, no muss, no fuss, just important subject matter to discuss and or important guests relating a topic, whether it be Christian or political at all, not always, here on the ChristiTutionalist Politics podcast. Thank you all. Take care. God bless. Thank you for having tuned in for ChristiTutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you, or autographed copies are available online direct from me via terrorstrikes.info/shop. Be sure to check out more about today's discussion at thelibertybeacon.com, where my articles drop every Saturday. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come, but for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.
It is a myth that terrorism stopped during COVID. Unfortunately, mainstream media opted to prioritize pandemic hysteria over promoting all news. Terrorism continues. Simply hoping that it doesn't affect you is not a strategy. The new book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, featured on The Author Show, is now available in paperback from bookstores, online, or as an ebook exclusively through Amazon Kindle. Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you by Joseph M. Leonard. Order today.